Nestled in the heart of western Loudoun County, Purcellville Baptist Church stands as a testament to a century of unwavering faith, hope, and God's incredible love for His church. As we journey through time, we celebrate not just the milestones, but the emergence of discovering how our church's current core values came to be throughout this last century. Today, we are committed, helpful, purposeful, and missional. But we didn't start out with these values on our own. God had shaped us and established these values in and through us over the years. As we kick off 2024, we saw the commitment God infused into our previous generations to make us fiercely committed to being Bible-believing, Bible-preaching, and by God's grace, a Bible-doing church. We turn our focus now to our second core value that has come to define who we are, being helpful. What do we mean by being helpful? Simply putting Christ's love in action and helping every person take their next step to find a deeper relationship in Christ, growing more in His likeness, and living their lives in the freedom He gives. Our story today begins with how PBC became helpful not only to the community, but to every person, and what this will look like over the next 100 years. Helpful is a difficult core value to define, as the breadth of the term contains more than just providing assistance or being ready to serve. It encapsulates a deeper spiritual connection to include finding freedom from the past of life's experiences, being intentional in personal and community relationships, and developing a life displaying Christ-likeness. Our goal is for every person to take the next steps towards experiencing real life in Christ, and our job is to help them do that. That's what we mean by being helpful. We can trace the earliest days of PBC being helpful back to 1925 with the foundation of our Sunday school. This was a place to build relationships, accountability, and community, all while growing spiritually with one another. Freedom began to be realized as accountability grew and developed, helping people experience real life in Christ. God was at work in these early years as enrollment in Sunday school skyrocketed from 29 the first day to a whopping 245 within 5 years. This somehow became newsworthy enough to report in the Evening Star newspaper of Washington, D.C. on February 8, 1930. It was also the reason to build our first building right here at 221 South Nursery Avenue after just 4 years of opening up our charter. The 1930s brought beloved Reverend Taylor's heartfelt messages inviting all to revival and the establishment of the home department that launched homebound visitations to ensure worship was accessible to everyone. Our commitment to helping others worship and serve extended beyond spiritual needs, as seen in the 1930s bulletin calling for clothing donations to enable everyone to attend church with dignity. The 1940s and 50s brought some uncertain times with World War II and the ongoing battle against polio. PBC was dedicated more than ever to help people experience the freedom only Christ can give from the fears associated with these. Prayer meetings for people suffering pain or loss from sickness and war were customary, culminating in June of 1944 when the state of Virginia selected PBC to be a community house of prayer for the anticipated Invasion in Europe Day. This happened again a year later on May 8, 1945, to meet the spiritual and emotional needs of the war-weary and celebrates God's provision as the United States declared victory in Europe. Decades have passed, but our mission and dedication to being helpful has only grown stronger. In the early 1970s, PBC saw the need to help families by hosting the first Family Life Conference open to the community. Conferences focused on helping the family, parenting, marriages are still a big part of PBC and continue to this present day. A big step in being helpful launched in 1997 as Caring Ministries began a new chapter of outreach. This continued the visitation of the homebound established in our earlier years, but added meals for those who were sick, visits to those in the hospital, transportation, and from church or doctor's visits. Stephen Ministry and Grief Share for those who experienced the loss of a loved one began also. In 2002, it brought the introduction of ESL, or English as a Second Language classes, offering help, hope, and assistance to those new to our language and culture. The Tree of Life Partnership began in 2008 with a vision of PBC to reach the poor and the needy in the community with the love of Jesus, not only helping their physical needs, but equipping them to seek and know Him. The helpful trend continued in 2014 with the addition of Celebrate Recovery to further our commitment to help with healing for those who were experiencing hurts, habits, and hang-ups. When we first came to Purcellville over 20 years ago, it was apparent God was doing a great work in this community. We have seen God work in some incredible ways, and it has been always through the people opening up their hearts and being helpful. Today, we can confidently say PBC stands in community for community as a beacon of hope, healing, and support. As we celebrate a century of God's work in and around Purcellville, we are reminded of the ways in which this commitment to being helpful is core to who we are and how we operate. By helping every person take their next step in a deeper relationship with Christ, growing more in His likeness, and living their lives in the freedom He gives, PBC will continue to stay true to God's calling to be helpful and simply put Christ's love in action. As our community continues to grow, we have opportunities for everyone to share their gifts. Whether you have a heart for youth, young adults, families, or seniors, there is a place for you here. We invite you to learn more about our ministries and how you can get involved at purbap.org.